Well, this past week we got some news on IGN that the director of Kong Skull Island, Jordan Vogt-Roberts, who's already directing the Metal Gear Solid movie that's coming up, has announced that he's made a deal with Netflix and Legendary, and they're basically going to be giving us a live action Gundam movie, which will end up on Netflix, obviously. And, what I have to say about that, there hasn't been really a good anime live action adaptation, except one, and that's Alita Battle Angel. And considering how popular Battle Angel was, why hasn't it been announced a sequel, Robert Rodriguez? The Alita Army has been still campaigning for it for quite some time now. I think it's time we move up with that one. Let's get that one on the boards. But nonetheless, the live-action Gundam film has been in the works for quite some time. Back in 2019, Variety reported that Brian K. Vaughan was writing the screenplay and will serve as executive producer. Despite the announcement that Vaughan was penning the script back in 2019, no details about the movie has actually been revealed. Well, when you hear something like this, and you say like, oh yeah, it's about time we got, like this on Netflix or something like that, a Gundam. I could say that, I've been a Gundam fan for many years. I mean, going back all the way back to the early days of Toonami, Mobile Suit Gundam Wing, and I saw the original Mobile Suit Gundam, Victory, Fighter G, Endless Waltz. I mean, all the way, and then now, recently they've talked. They have a Hathaway Flash is coming very soon. A movie based on the original manga from many years ago, which happens to be very, Hathaway was very good back in the day. I'm just finishing off Iron Blood Orphans, which is okay. It's a Gundam. You love Gundam, and one thing about Gundams, it's very, very popular. And you could say it's like, we need a Gundam on TV. Okay, we've had one on TV. Well, we need a movie. Okay, we've had several movies. Okay, let's have a live action film. That's right. There was a live action film. I guess we've forgotten about it. Well, I'll tell you this. This will not be the first. And if you haven't realized this, back in 1999, over 20 years ago, there was a Gundam movie. In fact, I have it in my collection. In fact, it's hard to get it now on DVD because it's over $100 now these days. If you're lucky, you could buy a used copy for, a couple bucks here and there. But yeah, there was a movie called G-Saver, and it happened to be decent. It was directed by Graham Campbell. It was written by Mark Amato and Stephanie Pence. Sorry if I butcher your name, Stephanie. Pensai, and it had a decent cast. It had a decent cast. There was a couple familiar faces. The special effects were not bad. The movie starred Brendan Elliott. If you're not familiar with him, he basically was in The Curse of Chucky, Night in the Museum, Cedar Cove. You also had Anuka Okoma, who basically at that time, she's had a run on Steven Universe, voice acting, and a couple other small little TV series. Also starring David Lundgren, who was in Roller Coaster, Antitrust, Cool Runnings, and a stint on Stargate SG-1. Also, one of the ones that are well known on there is Blue Mankuma. If you've seen his face, you know him in many different things. He's been in RoboCop 2012. Has a long, extensive voice acting and TV series on there. Supernatural, Saved, Tin Man, many different characters, many different roles that he's done in the years. And then, of course, there's Kenneth Welsh, also well known, who was in The Day After. He played the Vice President in Day After Tomorrow, Twin Peaks, Miracle, the remake of The Fog. So the cast was about average. It was an average cast. The storyline it's the year UC 0223. With the Earth Federation collapsed, a new government has risen, the Congress of the Settlement Nations. This new government tries to cover up the discovery of a new enzyme that could change humankind by feeding millions of who are starved to death. However, a rebel group led by Mark Curran tries to prevent this from happening. Their only hope is their new secret weapon, G-Saver, Gundam Savior. This movie spawned also a 2-volume set manga in Japan. About a year later, a novel adaptation of the same. It was Yoshi Karihari, illustrated by Mazizuki. And it ran the same storyline itself. And I'll tell you, it was a good... I mean, from the footage you see that I'm able to play here, you see that it was decent. The action shots were very, very well done for the time, for 99. You have to remember, special effects were just rolling in at this point. You know, we were at the crux of where special effects were just beginning to change. As we got into the 2000 era, you know, technology was beginning to change as far as the film industry, animation, computer graphics, you know, all that was starting to increase. We were starting to see better graphics. But for this, it's a great movie. I mean, it's well done. It's a good cast. The script is decent. You know, some people didn't like it. I mean, you had a budget of less than $9 million, I think, on this movie. Hey, it was a good thing. The real true Gundam fans enjoyed this. And I'll tell you, it touts a lot better than some of the live action stuff that's out today. You know, stuff like Death Note and all those that didn't do well. This was much better. This was much better. Much better for a release. And it followed the designs pretty well for a Gundam movie. So, I mean, this is something to catch. I mean, do we need another one? You know, honestly, I really don't want another live action anime. We're getting tons of it. You know, between Cowboy Bebop and other. I mean, why aren't we like I said, why aren't we getting Alita Battle Angel, a second Alita Battle Angel? That was the one they did right. See, the problem is Hollywood doesn't know how to produce anymore. They just focused on politics. And those politics are hurting the industry. I mean, we're seeing already what's happening at the Oscars. We're seeing what's happening at all these they said, oh, we have to have this person working here. We have to have this classification person working this and that and the other thing. Not looking for experience. So that's the one thing. You can't sit there and say, we have to have diversity hiring. No, you have to hire people that are experienced enough to handle the job, no matter who they are, what race they represent, you know, what their sexuality is, and what we don't look at that. We look at their experience. What are they going to bring to the table? And the thing about it is, this is what's destroying Hollywood. This is why there are a lot of independent guys out there creating smaller films that don't get recognized. And we don't give a shit if we don't win an Oscar. Because the Oscars are not the Oscars anymore. We used to tout a good Academy Award film. And, you know, stuff like Apocalypse Now and Platoon, on Golden Pond, all this. Have you seen the recent listing for the Oscars? It's just total depressing, cut balls, straight on the road. living on a van down by the river. That's how we have it. Demon Slayer didn't even get nominated, from what I see, which has been doing very well, beautifully done. It comes out in just about a week and a half here in the U.S. for the first time. Still grossing money over there. Evangelion is grossing money over there heavily. And from what I understand, the animation looks fantastic. See, this is the things that people don't understand. They said, oh, we don't have enough for this person in a movie or that person in a movie. They're lying to you. They are lying to you. Someone put it best. Who was top in the box office in the 80s? Eddie Murphy. Who was top in the box office in the 90s? Will Smith. Who's the top in the box office today? The Rock. You understand where we're going to? When they tell you there's not enough women in the industry, there's not enough minorities in the industries, they are lying. Understand, if people don't want to join the industry, that's fine. If you want more people in the industry, more minorities, you have to start at the school level. And I tell people, if you want to join this business, fine, that's great. But don't go to liberal college. Don't go to college. Go hands-on. Go and find yourself a school that will teach you this industry. There are plenty of film and television schools out there. Hands-on training. And if you don't want to be in this business, take on, go be a mechanic, go build buildings and stuff like that. There are colleges, there are local colleges that will teach you these things. Hands-on. I myself, I went to trade school for this business. I went to a trade school college. There's nothing wrong with that. You say, oh, I got to get a degree. Mm-mm. Experience. Experience is what you need. Hands-on experience. When I went to school to learn this, I was sitting in front of editors. I was on cameras. I went on remote locations. My first job right out of the box was in the industry. I didn't have to wait. I got in and worked in a production house. I didn't have to wait because they were looking for people hands-on. They weren't looking for people off the street. They needed someone who knew what they were doing. Today, it's like, we have to hire this person just to make our quota. That's wrong. That's totally wrong. So when you say that, do we need another Gundam movie? Do we need another? Honestly, no. We have G Savior, and I'm satisfied with that. If you want to go back and remaster G Savior, boost up the special effects, you want to do that, that's fine. Don't break apart what it is, but you can improve the graphics. You can improve on that. But keep the plot the way it is. Keep everything on there. Do not edit it, anything of that nature. Keep the music in. This music score was perfect for it. It was a great score. Go and listen to the score. The score alone is fantastic. But like I said, we don't need any more of these live action stuff. We need new stories. The Japanese have been pumping out. There's going to be a manga shortage. Do you believe this? There's going to be a manga shortage soon because they can't pump out enough of it to satisfy the demand. Isn't that amazing? New stories out of Japan, and they're running out of the product because that's what people want. They want new, original, and good storytelling. So you've reached this part of the video. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, share this video. Don't forget, tune in on Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight for another edition of Saturday Pre-Flight. some good discussion about classic films, television, anime, animation, Saturday morning cartoons, and a little of Svengoolie of the week. And we'll see you on the next one. Thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye now.
Would you mind telling me what this is all about? An Oriental.
I was at a dance when she caught my eye, standing all alone, looking sad and shy. We began to dance, swaying to